Hi guys, it's George from ALM Fitness. I'm here with a video about a topic that I think most of us will know about, and it is about the phrase, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Now, we've all heard this at some point in our lives, whether it was our parents telling us, whether we've heard it from a friend, or we've heard it online. We're all aware of this phrase. Now, I wanted to perhaps change some perspectives, because as of 2019, I can confidently say as a coach that breakfast, if you haven't got any health issues, if you're otherwise healthy, breakfast is certainly not the most important meal of the day. And in fact, when it comes to losing weight and other health benefits, it might even be on the other end of the scale. It might even be not necessary, or even holding you back slightly if you are a certain individual. So let me explain. So when it comes to losing weight, the most important thing is energy balance. So the amount of calories we eat versus the amount of calories we burn. Now, when the amount of calories we eat goes above the amount of calories we burn, we will gain weight. It's a simple equation. It's been tried and tested many times. That's the situation. When we eat more calories than we burn, we'll gain weight. When we eat less calories than we burn, so when the scales tip the other way, then we will lose weight. So how can we kind of manipulate this energy balance? How can we think of practical ways to help us lose weight if we're struggling with restricting our food on a daily basis, which a lot of people do when they're dieting or when they're trying to lose weight? Well, when it comes to eating breakfast, if you're one of these people who doesn't necessarily need to eat breakfast when they wake up, a bit like me, I could eat it or I couldn't eat it. I do all the time, but there's nothing to say that I couldn't just push that back a few hours or have my first meal as lunch. If you're one of these people who isn't absolutely ravenous when they wake up, then perhaps this could be a really useful tip for you. So I've done a bit of a terrible drawing here on a Post-it note to kind of articulate this point better. So we've got the end line here and here. This represents a 24-hour cycle of a day, so 24 hours in the day. This would be when the 24 hours of the day starts. So we'll still be asleep. This will be 12 o'clock at night. And then we're just slowly waking up. We wake up about here. Now, these smaller lines represent when we start eating and when we finish eating. So start of the day is here. We'll have our breakfast. This will be our eating window. So we might have lunch, a few snacks, dinner, maybe a snack before we go to bed. This is when we stop, and then we're asleep and the day starts again. So that's the top line. That's kind of the typical day, I would argue, for most people. It's a typical day for me. It's probably the typical day that is encouraged, or that was taught to you as a child or whatever. This bottom one is what it could be like if you weren't to have breakfast. So we've got, again, the start of the 24-hour day. So we're asleep. Then we wake up at the same point. So we wake up about here. This time what we do is we push our first meal back. Our eating window moves until about midday or 11 o'clock in the morning, or wherever you want to put it. So our eating window has now shrunk. If you can see, obviously this is smaller. This one, our eating window, is nice and big. So the theory here is that if you have a shorter window, if you restrict yourself to a shorter window of time to eat your food, then you'll still eat your meal, you'll still be full afterwards, and then you might have a snack, and then you'll eat your meal and you'll be full afterwards, and you'll keep on going on that process. But the only difference is you've missed a whole meal out during the day. So all these calories that you would have had for breakfast, if you can go without it, you will just have that kind of it will minus off your day. So your total calories minus your breakfast might put you in about 400, 500, even 600 calories deficit from where you normally were. So if you can cope without breakfast, and this is highly individual, lots of people might have difficulty with this. You might be absolutely starving when you wake up, and that's absolutely fine. But this might be a little tip, rather than trying to restrict your food throughout the day, by pushing back your first meal. If you can last up until lunchtime or whenever, then your eating window has shrunk. Your ability to eat a lot of food in that time stays the same, so you'll still get full and you won't be able to eat again. But this time, you've missed off all those calories from breakfast. So it's a little tip. You might want to use it, guys, if you're okay with skipping breakfast. So give it a try if you're struggling to lose weight, and let us know how you get on. Cheers.